So almost immediately we became essential workers. We got plastic masks, the whole deal.
Right, right.
And
I've
we
done
were
that.
100% busy. And I hired everybody back and we've been growing ever since.
Oh yeah,
It's,
no, the good was crazy. I in 2021, the end of COVID, I sold more that year than I have in 28 years of doing real estate. Hello, I'm your host, Andrea Gordon, and I'm here today with Libby Wood from Senior Settlers. Hi, Libby. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
The reason why I do this show is because of the NAR DOJ lawsuits that occurred recently and the commission lawsuits. I got really angry and ultimately decided that I could stay angry for years at a time, or I could do something positive, because what I realized was that how this sort of legislation and litigation occurs is when people don't understand what people do and what their jobs are. So what I did was I created realizations to bring on all sorts of people that engage with real estate agents, in different vendors, different parts of life, politicians, heads of companies, heads of real estate companies, to give an idea of the extent to which real estate is powering our economy, and all of the services that realtors are touching when they're in a transaction with somebody. So I thought Libby was a great addition to our show because of what she does. Libby, can you describe for us exactly what Senior Settlers does and doesn't do?
All right. And doesn't do. All right. Okay. So yes, we are a senior move management company. So we help people downsize, we help them get organized, we help them move and help them get settled. We manage the entire project from one end to the other. We can bring in people who, we are not movers ourselves. Can you picture me lifting furniture? Probably not.
Actually, unfortunately, yes.
That's okay. It's okay. Yeah, once in a while I do, but not often. And we are not movers, but we bring in movers, and we bring in whatever services might be necessary. But we can do things like, if people are moving from a larger house to a smaller house, sometimes they need help visualizing how that their furniture is going to work. And so we can do some layouts for them. We have some computer assisted design software that we use to do that for visualization purposes. We do that. We help people decide what stuff they're going to take with them. We can also help them figure out what to do with the stuff that they're not taking with them. So if it's going to go to an auction house, a consignment store, a charity, wherever it's going to go, we can help them figure that out, and then we can get it there for them. So we can bring in the haulers or the movers or whatever needs to happen to get the stuff where it needs to go. And then as far as moving into the new place, we do the packing, we do the unpacking, we make the bed, we put the dishes in the cupboard, we hang the clothes in the closet, all of that kind of stuff, so that when you walk in, it's the way you want it.
Wow, I need you. You're based out of San Rafael, California, and typically are you dealing with people who have already had any sort of neurological issues, dementia, Alzheimer's?
Sometimes, yeah.
How do
Yeah,
you
pretty
deal with
frequently.
how do you deal with that? Probably just very patiently, I'm going to guess.
With patience, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But mostly they know what they want around them,
Hmm.
and for somebody with dementia, it's good to have continuity, so they see the same things on the walls, or the
Hmm.
layout is familiar. They've got the same bedspread, they've got sometimes they have a teddy bear, whatever, things like that are familiar and comforting for them. So
Hmm.
we do that. We've
Okay.
had clients who've had like whole gallery walls and they want that exactly replicated. We can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make them feel comfortable, feel like they're at home.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big trend right now for people to stay at home, and that's in part because of these interest rates on loans where, I have one, my loan is at 2.65%. I doubt I will ever move. Yeah. So we see at least in Berkeley and Oakland, a
Mhm.
lot of people sort of having golden handcuffs on, not able to move out of their houses because they can't possibly get something and it creates problems because a lot of
Yeah.
times there are tremendous mobility issues in older people. I know.
We have a client in San Francisco. He's been our client for years now, and he he's on the list for several senior communities, and he keeps coming to the top of the list, and he keeps saying, I'm in a rent controlled apartment.
Yep.
Yes, I have to go up 3 flights of stairs to get there, but it's so cheap. How could I possibly,
Right.
you know, he can afford to move into a senior community, but he's got this great rent controlled apartment. And he's like, I know I have heart issues. I could fall down those stairs really easily, but how can I bring myself to move? So every once in a while, he hires us to do just a little downsizing on him so it's, you know, easier to move around within his apartment. And when he finally does decide he's just got to do it, he'll do it, and he'll hire us and we'll get him moved. But
there you go.
But yeah, there's that. It's kind of a golden handcuffs type of thing with rent control, especially in San Francisco.
Absolutely. I had a client who was looking he really hated his apartment in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But he was paying $250 a month. Right. And he was living in the Tenderloin, which is a little bit of a funky neighborhood. And he was a wealthy man. He had saved every dime he'd ever made. He could afford literally anything, and he couldn't get himself to move.
That's the same with this guy.
Yeah.
He's not in that bad a neighborhood. He's actually near Coit Tower, which is pretty nice, you know.
Oh, that is very nice. Yeah.
But still, those stairs are a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have one set of steps from my upstairs to my downstairs, and I have a bad knee, and it's like a nightmare pretty much all the time. And, you know, I think to myself, these people that are living in these places where it's a 4th floor walk up and they're 82 years old and not in the best of shape, how do they manage it? And, you know, these are the sorts of things that make me sad about our culture, because there are a ton of isolated elderly people who are not able to fully participate in life because of the decisions that they make just purely based on their finances. And our culture should support them more. In any case,
you know, in our 2 cases, both of those guys could afford anything.
It's true.
So it's a psychological issue, really, rather than a societal issue. In that case, really, it's a psychological, and we deal with so many psychological issues in our business because we're dealing with people and their stuff. And there's so much emotion people invest in their stuff and their surroundings that it's it's an interesting phenomenon.
I wrote a play called Miriam and Esther Go to the Diamond District, which was about me and my sister going through our mother's stuff 45 years after she died, after our stepfather had passed away and his wife wanted to sell the apartment that they had in New York. And based on a true story, obviously. I mean, it was kind of fascinating, the things that people choose to keep. And you can't guess the sentimental value.
No,
you can't. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
So what provoked you did you start this company? Is it your company?
No, it is my company. Yes, I am the owner of the company. That is true. But did I start it? No, I did not. So a little history.
Yeah.
Here's the history. I am retired. This is my retirement career. I'm retired. I worked for 32 years for the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Retired from that. And then I was just doing some charity work, this and that, you know. And I got a call from a friend of mine, and she said, Libby, I have this other friend, and she's moving from a condo into a senior community. And I was going to help her because I know what to do, but I can't do it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I said,
some friend.
She said, don't worry, I'll talk you through it. It's just I need to be near the toilet today. Fine. I did it. It was so much fun. This little lady, she was about less than 5 feet tall, little teeny tiny thing, maybe 80 pounds. Horrible dementia, just the saddest, but just sweetheart and so much fun to be with. And I enjoyed being with her. I enjoyed the whole move process. She moved into a place that was, again, she was one that had a lot of stairs to get to her condo. That was bad. So we moved her into this lovely place. She was happy. It was such a positive, wonderful experience. And from there, I kind of started doing it. Then when COVID hit in 2020, I was friends with Moira Brennan, who was the owner. She's the one that started Senior Settlers. And she called, we were friends. We'd have coffee. You know, we were competitors, but we're friends. Whatever. And she called me up and said, Libby, I have to move to Kentucky because my dad has dementia and this COVID thing, he can't really get out much. And so I got to go. You got to buy me out. So I bought her out.
Wow.
And you know, we thought, okay, COVID, there's not much going on. It's all in lockdown. Not much going to happen. So I'm basically buying the logo, a couple of t-shirts, you know, whatever. And she'd laid off all but two of the employees, right? Okay, so almost immediately we became essential workers. We got the plastic masks and the whole deal.
Right, right.
And we
I've done
were
that.
100% busy, and I hired everybody back, and we've been growing ever since.
Oh yeah,
It's
no, the COVID was crazy. I in 2021, the end of COVID, I sold more that year than I have in 28 years of doing real estate. I'm an individual agent and I sold $112 million worth of real estate in 2021. And
that's crazy.
yeah, it is. Normally
Wow.
I do 60 or 70 million, and that's fantastic. I mean, I'm proud of that. So that was, and by the way, that was almost the exact same volume that I normally do. So
Yeah.
it's how much prices ran up during that time period.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in any case, yeah, the COVID time was crazy. There were a
Mhm.
couple of houses that I had on the market, and the instructions for realtors at the time were that you had to rub everything down with Lysol or
Uh,
Clorox every single showing there was.
uh,
Everybody had to have these things called PEDs. You had to sign. I mean, there was one house I had in Rockridge that was very popular, and I literally from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the evening sat in my car outside waiting for people to go in and out, and went in with Clorox wipes to wipe down everything all day long. My hands got absolutely
mhm.
cracked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I was wearing gloves, you can't, it was,
Yeah. It
yes,
gets everywhere. It
irritating.
does. Mhm.
Anyway, okay, so
Yeah.
when you are working with seniors, are you working a lot with their families as well, or does it tend to actually just be the people themselves?
It's maybe half and half. If they have family, the family often is very involved.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're in. I was talking to a lady in Paris yesterday. That's hard for her to come and deal with mom,
Right.
whatever. So it just depends on the families and the geography and the condition of the seniors. Sometimes I'm going to see somebody on Monday. I just talked to him on the phone just now. Very together. He's in his late 70s, and he's like, we're not going to move soon, but I want to be prepared. I want to do some downsizing in advance.
That,
There's no reason to involve his family in that case.
That's yeah, I mean the service that you're providing is extraordinary actually, and there should be more of it happening. I mean, you're one of the first people I've heard who's actually doing this in a consolidated way. Yeah, and very frequent, like I very recently helped some people to buy a condo because they very wisely realized that their house wasn't working for them anymore. They were in the Berkeley Hills in the fire zone, three
Yep.
stories, tiny staircases, way too, I mean, like a 3,500 square foot house for two people in their
Yeah.
early 80s. It was crazy. And now we're preparing their house for sale.
Yeah.
And they're very old school. They've done literally everything themselves. But I have no
Right.
doubt that and sharp as tacks, both of them. They're not in any way mentally impaired. But if they had known of a service like yours, they might have utilized it to help them with their project management or,
Yep.
I mean, for example, things like you could have explained this to them. It didn't occur to me to explain this to them. We're having the floors done. They went into their old house and they rolled up all their old carpet absolutely perfectly and put it into little parcels that were perfectly tied on each end and pulled up all of the nails. Well, the floor company in the bid that they had made had already included taking the carpet out and removing all of that. Um, it didn't even occur to me that they would think like that, but of course they did. And
They wanted to do it themselves. Yeah.
yeah. So, and there are a lot of
Yes.
there are a lot of yeah.
Speaking of carpet, we get called sometimes. Sometimes we do work for non-seniors, even though we say senior settlers in our,
Yeah.
in our company name. We do work for some non-seniors. Sometimes we get called from insurance companies,
Hmm.
and so they want us to go in, pack up all the stuff, and have a mover move it all out. If there's been some kind of damage, like there was a water leak and the
Right.
floors have been destroyed,
Right.
and they need to replace the floors, the insurance company will call us and say, okay, can you move all the stuff out so that the flooring people can do their thing, then move them back in. And
So
we do that once in a while.
when you move this stuff, it's for an insurance company, do you have a storage facility that you bring things to?
No, but most of the movers do.
I
So
got
we
it.
work with we are not movers ourselves, but we
Good.
will either subcontract or will we'll bring in a moving company, and most of the moving companies do, or it could go to one of those self-storage things. Either way, depends on a lot of things.
Do you have connections with realtors who have the senior residential specialist designation?
We work with a lot of realtors who do that.
Yeah, because your service would be so incredibly valuable so often. As I mentioned before we started the show, I have this house where some people who had a hoarding problem and their own children are elderly themselves, and it's really beyond them. And they have just hired, a junk type thing. They're literally throwing out everything in the house, which I'm sad about, because there's probably some little treasures in there someplace, but they can't deal with it. And they'd already made those arrangements before I came on the scene, because I would have loved to have referred that to you, for example.
Anyway, we like to go through it more carefully than that. We've found all kinds of irreplaceable. Here's my favorite example. It's just kind of off the wall, but we were doing a 4-story house in San Francisco, and it was her grandparents' house, right? And it wasn't a hoard, but it was pretty packed, right? There was a lot of stuff, but we're going through really carefully, because who knows what's there. We found a certificate that allowed the grandmother to come to the United States. She was from China, but it was during the Chinese Exclusion Act. This certificate allowed her to get in, even though that was the case. And the granddaughter didn't even know that had happened. So the fact that we went through that paperwork carefully and found that, it was like, she wouldn't have had that other. It would have, if a junk hauler had come in and done that, it just would have.
Exactly. Wow, that's amazing. Well, you're gonna have to write a book about it someday, Libby.
Well, I did write a little book back in 2020. I wrote a little book.
Oh, what is it?
Which you can buy. Oh, let me just a second. I wrote a book.
What is it?
It's called Home of the Brave, or How to Overthrow the Tyranny of Stuff. It's just a little bit.
Talking to the next Marie Kondo, aren't I, though?
well, it's kind of a fun little book, and it helps some people. It's only a few pages long. It's not a big deal, but
that's a big deal to me. I write books, and I love writing my books. Anyway,
So it mostly talks about, what are the reasons that people hang on to their stuff, and why do they want to hang on to their stuff, and what to do about that.
It's beautiful,
because a lot of it is, it's not logical.
No,
it's just an emotional issue.
Absolutely emotional. Well, you are terrific. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and use your services, how do they get a hold of you?
They can go through our website, is probably where we get quite a few of our clients come in through the website. We have a contact us now thing. And then the phone number is on the website, and it's 415-755-3340. And that rolls straight through to my cell phone.
And is it seniorsettlers.com?
Mm-hmm. Senior-settlers. There's a dash between senior and settlers.
Okay. So senior-settlers.com.
Yeah. And if I were to do that again, would I put that dash in there? I don't know, but it's there. It's been there a long time. I don't know. But that dash is between the senior and the settlers.
Most excellent. Well, it's been really a thrill to talk to you today. You're the first person I've ever had who's talked about this kind of thing, and I think this can be very helpful for my realtor audience and for other people as well, of course. I really appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and come see my show at the Belrose.
Sounds great. I will. Yeah, that's fabulous.
Take very good care. Thank you.
Okay. You too.
Bye.
Right. Thanks. Bye.
If you loved hearing from these incredible voices shaping real estate, you'll want to catch what's next. Click the video on screen to keep discovering more inspiring stories.